My dear friends, welcome again. This is the 70th class on the Bhagavad Gita. We are studying chapter 9 and today we are going to finish chapter 9. In the last class, we studied 4 shlokas, which were shloka numbers 25 to 28. So let's quickly revise these shlokas. In shloka 25, Krishna said, devotees of the astral deities go to them, ancestor worshippers go to the mains, to the nature spirits go those who seek them, but my devotees come to me. So here again, what Krishna is pointing out, that what is important is what is the ideal that you have kept in your mind. What is the object after which you are crazy? What is it that you behold as your goal in life? So if it is the ancestors that you want to go to, you will go to them. If it is a particular form of a deity, then you will go in that heaven. And if you want to visit the elemental spirits or the forest devatas or the nature devatas, you will go to them. But he says, my devotees come to me. So what is the difference? When he says my devotees, he is talking of the infinite formless Krishna consciousness. So those who will believe and pray and unite themselves with the infinite consciousness, they will go into that infinite consciousness towards moksha. Now, is there a problem if people worship deities or nature spirits? The problem is this, that once their karma has finished in that realm, they will have to be reborn unless they themselves recognize that their Atman is formless and infinite, which is the same as Krishna consciousness. Till then, their limited identity, so even if there is a particular astral deity or a nature devata or an ancestor, they still have a form and a name and a function. As long as you stay limited to one form, one name and one function, then you have to keep repeating the cycles of birth and death till you realize your formless essence, which is oneness with Krishna. And that is what Krishna is clearly saying here, that if you worship lesser idols, lesser ideals or lesser goals, you will go to whatever you want, wherever you want. But if you come into me, that will be infinite freedom. And why do we want infinite freedom? Is because we are made of unconditional bliss, we are made of eternal love, and till we unite ourselves with that source from where we have come, we shall never be satisfied. Yes, there may be temporary times of pleasure in our life, or even in heavenly spheres there will be thousands of years of refined pleasures can happen. But then again one has to come back and work out. Going beyond the law of cause and effect is important. By worshipping anything less than the formless infinite Krishna consciousness, you will get stuck in the cycle of birth and death, whether it is in this region, whether it is in higher heavens, whether it is in neither regions. So our aim is moksha. We want to be eternally and infinitely free, and we want to be free right now. Therefore, we must pray into the Krishna consciousness, and Krishna consciousness is available right within us. So by regular meditation, as we continuously practice communing with that Krishna consciousness within us, we will know how to merge our soul with the infinite spirit at the time of passing, when we leave this bodily frame. Then in shloka number 26, which is one of the beautiful shlokas of the Gita, Krishna said, the reverent presentation to me of a leaf, a flower, water, a fruit, it's given with pure intention in a devotional offering, is acceptable in my sight. So here he is lovingly assuring you that he does not need any grandeur from your side, any great material sacrifices. He is not asking for. All he is asking you is for the bhav of your heart, and that is what he needs, because everything else, he is anyway the king and the father of this entire universe. What is it that we little beings can give to him? Everything belongs to him. But yes, as Paramahansa Yogananda said, there is only one thing that we can give to God by our own free will and choice, and that is the love of our heart. And that is what God is seeking, and that is what he wants us to offer him in the form of a fruit, a leaf, or so whatever you give to him, just give it with your heart, give him with your love, and that's what he wants. And we have so many examples, in our mythological stories where Krishna has accepted the love of a devotee's heart. We know that Sudama, who was Krishna's friend, he only had some pressed rice with him, and he gave to Krishna with love, although he was shying a bit. But Krishna knew the devotee's heart. Krishna knew how pure a soul Sudama is, and he lovingly accepted that gift. And in fact, he even washed the feet of Sudama. And then when Sudama returned home, he had all the riches of the world. But were those riches that important? The more important thing was the love that Sudama had for Krishna, and therefore Krishna also had for Sudama. So that was more important in that case. Again, we have the story of, there is a Gajendra Strotam. So this is a mythological story in the Bhagavad Mahapuran, which says there was this elephant, Gajendra, who was standing beside a lake, and there was a crocodile in that lake, and the crocodile held the foot of the elephant in his mouth and he wouldn't let go. And it said that this battle kind of went on for thousands of years. It is said that the other elephants of the tribe were trying to pull this elephant back from his tail, were trying to pull him, but they couldn't. The hold of the crocodile was so strong, and since thousands of years had passed, and the elephant was now losing hope and he was losing strength. But then at the moment when he just thought that now I cannot handle this anymore, at that moment he just bowed down into the lake. There was a lotus. With his trunk he picked up that lotus, and mentally he just pushed it up, and he mentally offered it to Vishnu, and he said, "Hey Hari." So with that, with that love, with that surrender, and with that offering, it is said that Hari came, Vishnu came, and he gave moksha to both the elephant and the crocodile. And of course there is a backstory to, as every story has a backstory in the sense of past lives, that both these were men, and I won't go into that. But the important thing is that at the point when you feel that you have nothing left of you, you still have the love of the heart to offer, and that's all God is waiting for. And once you do that, then he takes charge of your life. And as he said in a previous verse in shloka number 22, that whoever gives himself single pointed to the Lord takes care of all his needs throughout life and even beyond. So very important is the love of the heart. Now many stories are there. Now think of yourself also. At least I can say it for myself. Any time that I have prayed deeply, even without any external thing offering, that I will not offer any material object, but any time I have deeply connected from my heart and I have longed for something, or I have given a sincere prayer, it has been fulfilled. And you look back into your life, you will find that these are things that have been fulfilled. And if certain things are not fulfilled, that is also for our benefit. So many a times we ask for silly things. God knows we don't require them. God knows that if we get those things, then we will deviate from the right path. So those desires may not be fulfilled. What I'm trying to say is that whenever you connect to God with love and surrender, the highest good happens to you. Whether it is the fulfillment of a desire or whether it is the withholding of a desire. So both of them are good, but the important thing is to connect with God, with your heart, with your mind. Then in shloka 27, Krishna says, "Whatever actions thou dost perform, O son of Kunti, whether in eating or in observing spiritual rites or in gift bestowing or in self-disciplining, dedicate them all as offerings to me." So another easy thing Krishna is telling us. First he is saying, you offer me any little thing with love, I will accept it and I will take care of you. And now he is saying that now whatever you are doing, whether you are eating, you are sleeping, you are drinking, you are working, you are performing certain tapasyas, your asceticism is there, your sacrifices are there, whatever you are doing, you offer all of them to me. Now this is so beautiful. It just shows that God wants to be part of our life fully and completely. He wants to be with us. He wants us to think of him lovingly as we go through every moment of our life. And this is only love. What else is there? Of course, all power belongs to him. But if we do this with love, and if we remind ourselves, sometimes when we start to do this practice, it's easy to forget him. But if you pray that God, please remind me of yourself at every moment, then you will find that he does remind you. Because if we know that we cannot even pray, we cannot even take his name without his permission. So we can just pray to him, God, I want to think of you. I want only you, but please remind me as and when I forget. Please remind me that I want to connect with you, that you are my everything. So once you develop this loving relationship, you will find that God takes care of this command. In fact, there is this story of a guru disciple. So guru is like God. So it's a story where a guru initiates a disciple, and the disciple is a very sincere disciple. And what happens is that every morning at 4 o'clock, even after the guru has left his body, the disciple hears footsteps coming on his staircase, knock at the door. So he would wake up at that time, he would start meditating at that time, and then he would do his daily routine. But after some time, what happened was that, especially because the guru was not there in a physical form, so the footsteps were still there, but the devotee thought of ignoring them. So over few days, the devotee ignored those footsteps, ignored the knock on the door, and then after some time, there were no footsteps and there were no knocking. So it is we who turn away from God or the Guru. God and the Guru is always watching over us. They are always wanting to be part of our life. They are wanting always to free us. It is we that are, by our slackened effort, by our slackened will, and a lack of interest, that we tend to, and Maya is so strong that there are other temptations in this world. There are so many objects and activities to get involved with, that we either think that, God is always there, we'll connect with him later, we will see, and so on. So these things tend to take over. But let's remind ourselves, Krishna is telling us directly that we must share everything with him. Not only do you offer your actions, also I would say offer your thoughts and emotions. There are days when you feel happy, you can say, thank you Krishna, I am feeling your bliss in myself. The days you are not feeling so happy, there is a sadness, melancholy, some tragedy has happened, you are irritated, so share, oh Lord, I am feeling this feeling of anger or irritation or worry is in me, I want to share it with you. So offer every little thing with him. Why? Because he is our own self. Why? Because he is our best friend. Why? Because the way God loves us, no one else has the capacity to love us. Therefore, the Krishna is saying, please offer me everything, because he loves us so much that he wants to free us. Okay. In shloka number 28, what Krishna says is, thus no action of thine can enchain thee with good or evil karma. With thyself steadfastly anchored in me by yoga and renunciation, thou shalt win freedom and come to me. So, he says, if you anchor yourself with me through yoga. So, yoga, we know the word yoga means union. So, he is saying, unite your heart with my heart, unite your mind with my mind, and practice renunciation. Means offer all the fruits of your action to me. Do everything that you can, which is in your area of work, whatever is your maximum efficiency and maximum possibility, do all of that. But do that in a state of union with me. Offer everything that you do to me, and also offer the fruits of action. Renounce, tyag, karma phala tyag. Do not expect any specific fruits of action, because you are uniting yourself to me. I am anyway taking care of you. You do not have to worry for little things. You do not have to be fearful for little things. I am taking care of you. All you have to do is to center yourself and offer yourself to me. And that's what meditation helps us to do. If we meditate every day, we know how to center ourselves, and then we know how to love and surrender. Without meditation, our mind itself is so scattered. What are we going to offer to the Lord when we don't have our own mind under control? We can give something to somebody only when we own that something. If we want to offer our mind but we don't own it, then what are we truly giving? If I want to give my heart's love but actually my heart is loving 10,000 other things, then how am I really offering my heart? If I want to give my energy but my energy is involved with the world doing 10,000 other things, then what am I really offering to the Lord? This is lukewarm devotion. If you truly want the love of God, you want to feel that ecstatic love of God, then you have to first control your mind, bring it under your control, then offer it. Control all other desires, convert it into the fire of one desire of having God. By yoga practice, by meditation techniques, control your energy, withdraw your energy from the outside world, bring it to your own center, take it to the point between the eyebrows and offer it. Only then you are actually offering God yourself. Otherwise, it's half-hearted, it's lukewarm, it's not going to work the way you want it to work. Most of us, we want both the things of the world too much and little bit of God. That's our state. If God makes my life a little peaceful, I am happy, then I will do whatever I want to do in the world. Now, what is the problem with that? The problem with this is that desires are never ending. One desire will lead to another desire. It will lead to more karma, and more karma will have both positive and negative effects. There will be both pleasure and pain. And at some point, a disgust will come. So, eventually you will, after having done this like thousands and millions of times, you will again come to the point where you will say that I want God alone. And when that point has come, then know that you are pretty much at the end of your cycle of coming and going. And now you are ready because you have understood the pettiness of the world as compared to the lordship of God, in the sense of He is the owner, He is the creator, the sustainer, He is all bliss, He is all love, and you have understood that you want only this, and that is a great space to be. Now, does not mean that the journey after this is easy, because discipline yourself, controlling yourself, then the real act comes together where you follow the Guru guided techniques, you follow the footsteps of the Master, and you are able to realize God just as the Master has realized God. So we begin with the shlokas of today, that is shlokas number 29 onwards. Samoham sarva bhuteshu na me dveshosti na priya ye bhajanti tumam bhaktya mai te teshu chapyaham. मैं सभी प्राणियों के प्रति निष्पक्ष हूँ, मेरे लिए कोई भी घृणित नहीं और ना ही कोई प्रिय है, परंतु जो मुझे अपने हृदय का प्रेम देते हैं वे मुझ में हैं और मैं उनमें हूँ. I am impartial towards all beings. To me none is hateful, none is dear, but those who give me their heart's love are in me as I am in them. So to understand this, at the outset, you may feel that, because in the previous verses Krishna has mentioned again and again that those who love me are in me, those who give me their mind, I like them, and they are very dear to me. So this appears at the outset to be a very partial kind of a love of God, that what about the atheists? Does God not bother about them at all? Or what is the situation, and if somebody is not believing in Krishna per se, if somebody is believing in some other type of religious belief, then is God not blessing them, or what is the scenario here? So these questions do come, and therefore Krishna automatically steps up to clarify this doubt in us. He says, I do not love or hate anyone personally. So it is said that the grace of God is equally present everywhere. Like the sunshine. The sun shines everywhere together, whether it is on a good person or a bad person, a good tree, a fruitful tree, or a not so fruitful tree, on good soil, on bad soil, on dirty water, on clean water. Everywhere the sunshine is equal. But now what people do in this sunshine, so in the same sunshine somebody will commit a murder, but in the same sunshine somebody will gain knowledge, somebody will do karma yoga, somebody will do bhakti. So God does not, the sunshine is not responsible for what people do in that light. Same way, God is not responsible for how we think and how we act. That is, we are doing it out of our free choice. So basically, its master says that Lord has nothing to do with the ups and downs, losses and gains, pleasure and pain of all beings. Each one reaps the fruits of his own thoughts and action. So again, we must take responsibility of our life just as it is. we cannot run away from this. Unless we take responsibility. Now this is appears to be both good and bad at the same time. Good because if we know that we are creating a life, we'll be very careful about it. And bad because being responsible means you have to be very conscious, you have to be very alert about everything that you think, everything that you say and everything that you feel. You are accountable for it. Whatever energy is going out of you is exactly what is going to come back to you. So you become accountable. Now this appears to be a difficult proposition, but as long as you squirk away from it, you want to not look at it, it does not matter to the universe. Not knowing the law does not free you from the law. So might as well let's know the law, let's know the rules of the game and then play accordingly. And God is impartial completely. So whatever happens to anybody is the result of whatever has been initiated by that soul in some level of misunderstanding. We are all foolish in the sense that we have erred. So let's not call ourselves sinner or something. We have erred because we have not understood the truth. It is because we never understood this truth of omnipresent Krishna consciousness, and we were living only through these limited bodies, through limited mind and senses, that we made a mistake in understanding. And because with that mistake was there, and we kind of thought that these objects of this world are important, people of this world are important, that is why we acted the way we acted. But then the law comes in place, and the law comes to tell you that whatever you do, whatever you think, you will have to reap the result of it. So let's be more careful. And it is definitely a freeing law, and karma is not punishment. Karma is an unlearned lesson. Is the certain things that we have to learn. And the most important thing that we have to learn is to love unconditionally. Now most karma comes to teach us that we must love unconditionally. We must love ourselves, we must love the other person, and we must love the Lord unconditionally. Whatever the other person is doing or saying or behaving, we have to give unconditional love. And why is that we have to give? Because that other person is not actually outside ourselves or actually another. According to Advaita, there is only one. And therefore, energy movement in any one part of the universe will have a mathematically and physically equal component in another part of the universe to create the balance in the ocean of existence. So, if we can learn this lesson that karma brings to us, that we are all one, Maya makes it appear as many, but we are only one, and love is what we have come to learn. And that is the doha of Kabir Das, who says, Pothi pad pad jag mua bhaya na pandit koi, dhai aakhar prem ka pade so pandit hoye. So true love has to be learnt, and that is actually the only lesson we are here for. And the sooner we learn this lesson, and when we are loving, when automatically things like acceptance, forgiveness, non-judgment, helping out, kindness, sincerity, courtesy, all of this accessory things will come along, but the most important is love. And we have to develop. Now that does not mean that we go out into the world and to every person we individually say, I love you, I love you. No, it's just being yourself authentically. And with the love of the heart, sharing that love into the universe. Now the moment we get caught up with only one person, or with only a set of 3, 4, 5 persons who say, I love these and I do not love the rest, is you are immediately working in Maya, because everything that exists is one and it is an extension of yourself. So therefore Master said, do not get fixed on the love of us four and no more. Let your love expand beyond the boundaries of family, beyond the boundaries of neighborhood, beyond the city, beyond the state, beyond the country, beyond continent, beyond religions, even beyond the earth. Because love is the only force that is the truth and which connects every being, and it is only through this that you will gain moksha. And that is why Sri Yukteswarji said that you cannot take even a single step on the spiritual spiritual path without the natural love of the heart. Therefore, let's come to love as soon as possible. Most of us think with too much of our brains, intellect, minds, but we don't use as much of our heart. If we started to live with our heart and use the mind and brain as an accessory to function in this world, the world would be a much better place. But here we are looking at the variety. The intellect divides, it reasons, and it forgets that there is love. So with every little thing, so just check with yourself, what is the blockage in your life right now? There is only one solution to every blockage, and that is love. Offer love into that situation and say, I don't want anything in return. And this love that I am offering to these people, these situations, let this go to God, because I belong to God. And let me be brought out of the false hope that any object of this world can give me that love that I am seeking. All of us, we are like little children. We want someone to really, truly love us with all their hearts and minds. To be fully, we want full commitment. And just like we want full commitment out of our partners or out of our children or out of our friends, God wants 100% commitment from us. And that 100% commitment, if we give to the Lord, we are going to be freed from all the other karma and all the other complexities that the ego gets involved into. And that 100% love that you are seeking, the world cannot give you. The world is a very limited place, and every individual has a separate ego. And that is how God has made it. So only then the drama will continue. And because they are working, everybody is working from their egos, they will never fully understand you as you exist. As your soul is understood only by God. Your needs, your personal desires, your attachments, your likes and dislikes, only God can understand you, even as the ego. And eventually we are not the ego is all false. So as long as we have false hopes from this world, we are going to suffer. It is imperative, you cannot have it any other way. It's only the moment when you put all your trust and all your hope only from God, only then that will free us. Now this is very difficult to do, because we are so attached to the world. We think that if we leave the world, then what is there? What are we going to live for? But actually you start your true life only when you leave your attachment to the things and the people of this world, and you just be authentically yourself, and you just be the love and joy that God has made you. Just be that. Love everybody. Give your happiness to everybody. Share your peace with everybody. Because everybody is only you, and all is only Krishna. So loving God helps us to love ourselves, and loving ourselves and loving God helps us to love everybody. And don't get caught up with expectation from this world, because it is false, it is a mirage, it is hopeless, it is going to deceive you, it is going to bluff you. It will never fulfill its promise. Only God will fulfill His promise of love and infinite joy. Okay. So a few examples of this I would like to share of this shlokas, as we talked of sunshine. So let's talk about also rain. So Krishna is saying that I am not partial. So similarly, rain falls on the fields, on all kinds of fields. But if the field is plowed and ready, then that soil will take in much more rain. Then there will be better harvest in that field. Now same day-to-day example is the same teacher is teaching all the 50 students in the class. But it is only the student who has a keen interest in receiving the knowledge. That student automatically becomes the favorite of the teacher. It is not that the teacher is giving him or her extra love. It's because of that interest in knowledge that the student is showing that he becomes the favorite of the teacher. And there are other examples also. Now, God does not make your life superficially comfortable. Now, let's think of Mirabai. Mirabai was fully dedicated to the Lord. But did she have less complications in her physical material life? No, she had to face so many challenges from her family, from the society. And as a woman in that time, it was so difficult for her. But all those pains and difficulties meant nothing to her because she had the love of Lord in her heart. So on the outside, Krishna will not make things easy for you. But on the inside, that pain and suffering will not touch you if you have offered your life and love to Krishna alone, to God alone. And that is our destiny, because unless we do that, we are not going to be satisfied. Yes, we can play games with people, play games with romances, with material friendships, with all transactional realities, with businesses. But eventually God is our home, and we will find our rest only when we meet Him in our own home and become one with Him. This brings us to shloka number 30. Api chet suduracharo bhajate mam ananya bhag sadhureva samantavya samyak vyavasito hisa. यदि कोई अतिशय दुराचारी भी सब कुछ त्याग कर केवल मुझे भजता है, तो उसे भी उसके इस यथार्थ निश्चय के लिए साधु जनों में माना जा सकता है. Even a consummate evildoer who turns away from all else to worship me exclusively may be counted among the good because of his righteous resolve. So again, this is one of those beautiful, inspiring verses of the Gita where Krishna is promising that even the worst of sinners can come to him. But then there are two important things that come here. One is that that person has to have exclusive faith in Krishna, and the second is that he must stop doing whatever wickedness that he is involved into. And then, and just because he takes the resolve into righteousness, that very resolve, because of that he can be called a sadhu. And how do we understand this? So we may say that, a person has done wrong throughout his life, and then suddenly one day he has that epiphany and that experience, and he suddenly says, okay, from tomorrow I'm going to be a good person. So just that change will make him a sadhu. Why? Because as Anandamayi Ma said, that the only choice we truly have in this life, most of our life is already predetermined. The only choice is whether we look towards God or we look away from God. So this person who was a sinner in the past, but now with a firm resolve, has thought of choosing the light, turning towards the light, has made use of his free choice and will, and therefore, because just by turning towards the light, slowly over a period of time his past karmas will be burnt and he will merge with the light, and therefore he can be called a righteous man and he can be called a sadhu. So just for example, if there is a hay stack, for many years has been a hay stack and it has been piling up, it has become bigger and bigger, but yet if you just give it a little fire, the whole thing of years can burn down in a few minutes. And similarly, as Master said, in a dark mountain cave, if there has been darkness for thousands of years, if you just light one light, immediately the entire darkness is banished. So just that one thing. So similarly, if there is an addict who is an alcoholic or into some other addiction, and the moment he firmly decides that from now on I am not going to go towards addiction, so that is his, he becomes a sadhu, in the sense that because that resolve is so difficult. Turning from the bad to the good is so difficult that just that turn, God is saying, is that itself is sufficient to bring him to me. So for us in our life, if the moment we think of really deciding onto something good and then we just stick to it, if we can do that, then automatically we are going to be blessed and God is going to take charge of our life and we are going to be freed. It has to be like this. And there are so many examples. We know of the story of Angulimal. Interestingly, when he was born, his father gave him the name Ahimsak. And then we know that how many people he killed later on. Then of course he met the Buddha and he was completely reformed. From that day, the day he met Buddha, he left all his killing, he became a monk. And it is said that of course there were many people who hit him and he just took all of that suffering as a result of his own karma. But he worked at purifying himself, he worked on the Buddha's teachings, and it is said that he was set free at the time that he left his body. So it is possible. And there are so many other stories. There's a story from Master's life where there was a person who was a drunkard, but he had a pure heart, and so Master actually gave him Kriya Yoga. And it is said that he would perform his Kriyas with the bottle of liquor in one hand and the Kriya Mala in the other. And at one point he felt so much ecstasy doing Kriya Yoga that he just threw the bottle away and he never picked it up. And then there is, another example from the life of Sri Ramakrishna Paramahansa. He had one disciple, a lay disciple by the name of Girish Ghosh. And this person was an alcoholic, he was into drugs, he would smoke, he would do theatre and so many other things. But Ramakrishna knew his heart and always wanted him to grow spiritually. So one day Ramakrishna told him that whatever you do, give those activities to me, think of me. So Girish Ghosh said, oh, it's very difficult for me, I cannot do that. So Ramakrishna kindly said to him that, okay, when you are eating your meals, just before eating your meals, just think of me. So he said, okay, but I cannot guarantee that I am going to think of you. Then Ramakrishna said to him that, okay, give to me your power of attorney and I will take charge. And Girish Ghosh thought, wow, this is wonderful, I'd have to do nothing. I will just give my power attorney to Ramakrishna. So he said, okay, you take it. And then after some time what happened was, Girish Ghosh said that I thought it would be easy, but now I cannot do anything without thinking of Sri Ramakrishna. So God truly takes charge of your life, but you have to have that willing and open heart. And it is said, as time progressed, Girish Ghosh left all his addictions and he became such an ardent devotee and disciple that he was truly a transformed person. So when with love you can offer your life to God, at least you have the intention of getting into a pure state. You have the desire to become one with God. And if you just do whatever little you can. And there was another disciple during Yogananda ji's time who was not very physically fit and was not able to do his meditations, and Master said that he has taken the responsibility for meditating for that devotee. But then of course we have to do our best. Whatever is our capacity and understanding, we have to give it our all. And once we are able to do that, then automatically we are cooperating with the Guru and with God. God wants to free us, Guru wants to free us. And we need to just cooperate with what guidance they are giving, the techniques, the teachings. If we follow the footsteps of the Master, automatically we are going to go to self-realization because the Guru has already created a set path. We only have to walk on it. So let's give it our best, let's do our best, and let's understand that God is not going to be partial, but if we extend lovingly our hand up, He is going to bring His hand down to whoever goes and extends and calls upon God, God comes down to help him. So it is said that the door of heaven is always open, but some choose not to go through it. But some choose to go through it because going through it requires self-control, it requires restraint, it requires self-discipline, it requires non-attachment. Because only once you do all these things that the door to heaven will open up for you, and then you will want to go through it. So there are certain people who want to do only evil things. They are not attracted by even refined pleasures. So you cannot force them. But ask yourself, the door to heaven is available to everybody. Do we want to leave the attachments and desires of this world and walk through that door? Because first we have to have the desire to walk through that door. And then if we've set our goal that, okay, I want to go through that door into infinity, then I have to do the prescribed things that the Guru has come with. I have to take the doctor's prescribed medicine if I want to be free of disease. If I want to be free of the disease of ignorance and delusion, then Guru is that spiritual doctor. He has prescribed you medications like meditation, like prayer, like chanting, like exercises to detach yourself from this world and offer yourself to God. If you follow his prescription, freedom is yours. Freedom is all of ours. It's always available. It's we who have to choose and we have to determine to walk through that path and go into infinity through that door. This brings us to shloka number 31. Kshipram bhavati dharmatma shashvachanti nigacchati कौन्तेय प्रतिजानीहि न मे शक्तः प्रणश्यति। वह शीघ्र ही एक धर्मात्मा बन जाएगा और शाश्वत शांति प्राप्त करेगा। हे अर्जुन, सबको विश्वास पूर्वक बताओ कि मेरे भक्त का कभी नाश नहीं होता। He will fast become a virtuous man and obtain unending peace. Tell all assuredly, O Arjuna, that my devotee never perishes. So beautiful. So, very important here is, the second line is of course most important, that tell that my devotee never perishes. But he says that once you have made the right decision, as I said, you will anyway be started to call a saintly person, then he will quickly become a dharmatma. And what was the definition of a mahatma that Krishna himself gave a few verses ago? He says one who is fully, engrossed, involved, or surrendered in love to me. And why would one fully surrender and be in love with God? Because that is the only worthwhile thing that we all want. We all want happiness, we don't want pain. And what is that one thing or destination or goal which will give us what we want? Is mergence with God, because that is our source and that is our destiny and that is who we are. Unless we meet that, we are not going to be fully happy, and therefore we must all become Mahatmas and Dharmatmas. So don't think that Mahatma is somebody else, Dharmatma is somebody else, and these masters are somebody else. I have to come to that level. I have to become master of my thoughts and emotions and master of my destiny. I have to become that Mahatma who is fully, engaged and involved and surrendered and in love with God. Because then I will be free, because then I will be in ecstasy, because then I will not have any suffering in my life. So all progress in life, it is said, depends on the correct and firm decision. So what is the correct and firm decision? Is that I want freedom. Firstly, to acknowledge that I am bound by chains of karma, I am bound by chains of delusion, and the correct thing is to free myself from all these chains, because I am a child of God. So once you make this decision, you have to make it with full determination. You have to put in your full willpower and say, okay, if God is the only worthwhile having thing, then let me go full force in attaining that goal. Just like when we were younger and we have a romantic relationship and all we want is to have the beloved, or if we are crazy about money and all we want is to become the CEO of a company or a great businessman, or if we are a sports person and all we want is to have the Olympic medal, then we will go crazy day and night for these goals, won't we? If we can go crazy for material goals, which is going to be limited, the day the Olympic champion gets a medal, the immediately right after the medal, he is now not sure what he wants to do. Of course, he wants more and more and more. That is natural, but still there is a blankness that comes after you even get these things. Even if you get the best romantic relationship or the best job or the highest medals, even then you are not completely satisfied. If you were completely satisfied, you would not look for more. So therefore, once you make the firm and correct decision of going towards your own highest self, now that is the turning point in your life, and then you can organize your life accordingly. Master says, if one is reading all the scriptures and yet clinging desperately to the things of the world, one cannot come to the right decision. So here we are falsely believing that the things of this world will give us happiness, although having tried for not only this life but multiple lifetimes from one object to the other, we have always thought that maybe money will give me happiness, some love will give me happiness, human love, or maybe good health will give me happiness. It does give some pleasure and some enjoyment, but it is very, very limited and it takes no time in changing. So come to the right decision. If you are listening to the scripture is saying, Krishna is saying, give yourself to me, love me, come to me. But if you still say, oh, we will go to Krishna, one day we anyway have to go to Krishna, we will do that sometime later, then it's your choice. The door of heaven is still there, but you have chosen to turn away from it. So know that. If you are suffering right now, if there is misery, means at some point in time, you turned away from that door to heaven, you turned away from that light, and the only way out of this suffering is to turn towards the light of infinity, the light of your own Atman. And that's the only way out. There is no shortcut, you cannot bypass it. One must reach the understanding and decision that the Paramatman alone is real, and that He alone is our ultimate refuge. So till we understand this, we are going to be buffeted by pleasure and pain. Yes, sometimes life is very pleasurable, but we very easily forget that pain is standing just round the corner. And at any moment, whatever pleasure or happiness you are experiencing in this world, because this world is ashashvatam, it is not permanent, it can change. The rug of happiness can be pulled out from below your feet at any moment. And we are not aware, especially when times are good, we forget that this can happen to any one of us. Our health can be taken away, our financial security can be taken away, our relationships can be taken away. Everything can change in just a moment. And we must always, and death can come to us in just a moment. There's this beautiful imagery coming to my mind. There was this story about Shankaracharya that I read somewhere, and it is said that when his father was passing, his father also took conscious samadhi, and his father was passing, Shankaracharya, he gave the advice to Shankaracharya, he said, you must have two buddies and you must put them on your shoulder. So one buddy is knowledge. On one shoulder you should make knowledge sit. On the other shoulder you should keep death. You should always be reminded that death is a reality. Because if you remember that death is a reality and it can come any moment, then you will think right, then you will speak right, and you will act right. And you will understand the urgency of finding God in this lifetime. Because human life is sacred, human life is special. This nervous system that has been given to us and this thought process that has been given to us, where we can challenge and ask the truth, where we can seek the truth of who am I. In animal births you cannot do that. In animal births you cannot become a yogi. So this is a precious lifetime and we must utilize to find the truth, otherwise we will keep buffeting, keep coming and going. So human birth is nothing but coming from somewhere else to earth. And human death is nothing but going from earthly plane to somewhere else. Nobody actually dies. So it's coming and going. Now we don't know from where we have come and we don't know to where we are going. But now we know. Right now I am in a human body. Right now I have a God realized master. Right now I have the keys to the kingdom of heaven. But am I utilizing them? Or am I just, wasting away time here and there? We're playing with the objects or toys of this world. So you must seriously ask yourself these questions and then organize your life accordingly. Now the second line of this shloka is very, very encouraging. Krishna says, my devotee never perishes. And he says, announce it to the world, declare it to the world. Because why does he say that? Because he knows that the world lives in doubt. The world even doubts whether there is a God or not. The world doubts whether God is concerned about us or not. What these affairs, this coming, this going, life, death, suffering, pleasure, pain, people don't associate it with the presence of the omnipresent God. So Krishna is saying here that announce it to everybody that my devotee never perishes, my devotee is never lost. And this is very encouraging to all of us. If we can give our life, even little bit of ourselves to the Lord, Lord will keep on holding, and we said yoga shema vahamyam, He will carry this for us. Whatever spiritual gain we have gained in this life, He will preserve it, and in future lives that will continue, that bank balance will continue. And He will make sure that He unites us to Himself. Of course, if we cooperate, it is going to be fast. If we do Kriya Yoga, it is the airplane route to God. But if we keep looking away from the door to heaven, then it is our choice. And Krishna is just waiting and watching, and He's saying, I don't hate anyone, I don't love anyone. So everything depends on you. All karmic responsibility comes on you. All responsibility for earning your freedom comes on you. So, of course, we know God is working, but when He comes on you means you have to give it your best shot. What is your highest understanding? What is your highest love? What is the highest thing you can do with your body? You offer that to Krishna, and of course, rest is being taken care of by the Lord Himself. This brings us to shloka number 32. We may extend the time limit of today's class because we will finish chapter 9 today and we have only 3 shlokas left. Okay. Shloka 32. Mam hi partha vyapashritya yepi syu papayonaya striyo vaishyas tatha shudras tepi yanti param gatim. स्त्री, वैश्य, शूद्र अथवा पाप योनि में जन्म लेने वाले भी मेरी शरण में आकर सब जीव परम गति को प्राप्त कर सकते हैं. Taking shelter in me, all beings can achieve the supreme fulfillment, be they of sinful birth or vaishyas or shudras or women. Okay. So now many people around the world will say that this is a very gender biased shloka, and why is he counting women like this, and why are the classes being mentioned. So Krishna is being very practical. He is talking of the situation at that time when the Gita was narrated. So not only in India but around the world, we know that the condition of women was not very good. They did not have much choice. There was no free sales because they had less physical power and they were not economically independent. So of course there was difficulty. It was a marginalized section of society. They did not have that power and free will to do what they wanted to do. And similarly he is talking of the other classes who were more marginalized, who did not have as much resources or as much power and as much free choice as others would have had. So he is saying it is freedom and or moksha or coming to me or loving me or becoming one with me. It is possible for everybody. So no class of society or no person is left out from this door of heaven. He is saying it is the only qualification is your merit. If you love Krishna, if with your understanding you are contemplating on him, if you are practicing yoga and trying to unite your consciousness with him, if you are loving others and doing service to others, then whatever the gender of your body or the class of your body or wherever, in whatever religion, class, creed your body is, it does not matter. But where is your heart? Where is your mind? That is more important. Now, the simple thing is a mirror simply reflects. It does not classify whether it is a rich man or a poor man and a beautiful person or a not so beautiful person. The mirror does no distinction. So what a person has to do to become free is to purify one's own mind. That is the qualification. We have to purify our chitta. We have to settle down the vrittis or the movements in our chitta. Now, any person of any class, creed, gender, religion who can achieve the stabilization of the chitta, who can achieve the purification of the mind, who can become that mirror in which God will be realized and experienced. Now, that is a person who qualifies to have God. So that's why this shloka has been mentioned, because it is addressing the social reality of that time. And it is only, in fact, only last, I would say 6-7 decades that women have come out of those less powerful or less fortunate class of people who now have the power and the free choice. And as we see all around, there is no problem with any class or any problem with any gender. I personally have never felt any biases in class, creed and gender around me. I have been fortunate, I would say. I'm sure many would have experienced certain kinds of biases, but I personally have never experienced any bias on any basis in my life. So it's even though society may be changing, but yet again, whether you are in a male body, now these days it appears that women bodies are more fortunate and more powerful, and the energy thing is shifting. But even then, if you are a powerful woman, but even then you will have to attain God, you will have to do the same things that any other person has to do, or following Patanjali's Ashtanga Yoga if you want to find God. So it is immaterial what body you are living in through. The more important thing is what are you doing with your body, mind and heart. Is it directed towards Krishna or not? If it is directed towards Krishna as has been prescribed by the saints, sages, scriptures and Guru, then you are qualified to merge into God consciousness. Okay. In fact, there are so many, even in old times, we have so many women sages in India in Vedic times and even in medieval dark times. We have so many sages. In fact, I was pondering upon this and I made a list of saints from the Vaishya class, the Shudra class and women saints that we have. And I found a very, very long list just to share. So, of course, we know of Shabari, we know of Mirabai. Then there is Andal. Andal was a lady who was in love with Krishna. If you go to Tiruchirappalli and there is this Ranganatha Swami temple. So, she made so many poetic and verses about Krishna which are till now it is revered so much. Then in Maharashtra, we had Janabai, Muktabai, these were Varkari saints. Then in Kannada, there was this Akka Mahadevi. Then in Kashmir, there is a beautiful book on poems by Lal Devi or Laleshwari. She was a Shiva devotee and she was married, and then the story shows about how she leaves home and then she goes into, has many gurus, and then finally she lives alone, and she is a realized saint. And she has written so beautiful poems, like four line poems. I've read few of them, and she's just describing the self-realization, God realization, self-realization, who is Shiva, what is Jiva, and what is the entire play of Jiva and Shiva. It's beautifully written poems. Then of course we know of, in our current times, we know of Anandamayima, we know Ma Sharada, we know Amritanandamayima is also there. In Shudra saints, we had Saint Ravidas. Mirabai was a disciple of Saint Ravidas. Then there was Saint Namadwar, then Chokha Mela, then there is Kanho Patra, then there is Narhari Suna, these are from Maharashtra. And of course, even Saint Kabir, he was from the weaver family, so he was like mixed Shudra Vaishya class. So there's so many people who became. So again, the outward garb that we are wearing, just as the clothes that we are wearing do not determine who we are. Similarly, the body that we are wearing should not and does not determine where our heart is and where our mind is. So let's focus all our energy, heart and mind onto God. So we come to shloka number 33. Kim punar brahmana punya bhakta rajarsya tatha anitya masukham lokamimam prapya bhajasvamam. तब पुण्यशील ब्राह्मणों तथा पवित्र राजर्षि मुझे कितनी सरलता से प्राप्त कर सकते हैं। इस नश्वर और दुखी संसार में प्रवेश करने पर अब तू केवल मेरी ब्रह्म की ही आराधना कर। How easily then may I be attained by sainted Brahmins, knowers of Brahman and pious royal sages, thou who has entered this impermanent and unhappy world, adore only me, that is spirit. Now this is beautiful. So he's saying, if marginalized people, if less fortunate people can attain God, then isn't it easy for those who are already born in high class, who are more fortunate, who are Raja Rishis or who are Kshatriyas like you, Arjuna, who has all the things of this world, who has an intelligent mind, who is surrendered to me, then isn't it easy for you to find God? And we know that kings were so busy. Kings are one of the busiest class of people, and yet there were so many kings in Indian stories where we know that the king dedicated himself to spiritual learning as much as he did to material upliftment of his kingdom. So if a king can involve himself into spiritual upliftment, then we who are general householders and who do not have as many responsibilities, can we not work up to it? So it is, again, we have to ask ourselves this question. Are we imagining that life for us will get better in some other way and then we will seek God? In fact, if it does get better, we will get more engrossed in Maya because it's easy to forget God. And that's why Kunti would pray to Krishna to give her some suffering all the time so that she could always think of God. So we are very fortunate. We have all the things that we require, and now we must look for the highest truth. Our own highest interest is in achieving self-realization and achieving our own freedom, because most of us have been there, done that. Now, how many more times are we going to repeat the same mechanical and melancholic and boring cycle? It's the game becomes boring after a time and you say, I'm done with it. So are you really done with it? Or is it something that attracts you still? You have to ask yourself. And even if it attracts you, don't think that I'm in error and I'm this difficult person, I cannot leave the world. Whatever you cannot leave, at least involve Krishna with it. Give it to him. So God, I'm unable to leave my attachment, you help me. So whether you can leave everything, be a Vairagi from inside, that's very good. But if you still cannot do that, bring in Krishna into your life. Try to see Krishna in all the people around you. And once you have that perception and you make Krishna charge of your life, you have to make him your Sarathi. He has to manage the chariot of your life, whether you are in the middle of a very busy household or whether you are a Vairagi. You have to just make him the charioteer. Invite him with humility, with love. He is willing and waiting for us to ask him. And he will take charge of our life. And once he does that, then wherever we are, whatever station we are in life right now, he is going to free us. He is going to help us, just like he helped Arjuna to go through the entire war and come to victory. Similarly, he will help us if we ask him to. Now, the second line of this shloka is important because here he mentions the word that is anityam asukham lokam. So he has already said that this world is dukkhalyam, that this is ashashvatam, that this is mrityu lokam. And now again he is saying that this is anityam asukham lokam. So if we are still seeing some pleasure in this world, means we have not seen the truth entirely. Because behind every pleasure is pain. Master would say behind every rose bush of pleasure is the rattlesnake of pain. And pleasure and pain are both sides of the same coin. If you choose to take the coin, you will have to take both pleasure and pain. You cannot say, I want only pleasure. And if you are that person who says, I want only happiness, then God is the only solution. Then the only currency you need is Krishna. Krishna must become the currency you deal with. If you want to have that happiness which does not convert into sorrow. Otherwise, in this world, it is asukham, it is anityam, it is dukkhalyam, it is ashashvatam, it is mrityu lokam. And we must, that is why Buddha, the first noble truth that the Buddha gives is that there is sorrow in this world. Now, if we are not able to see it, that means we must increase the depth of our understanding and we will clearly see the mirage and the false promise of the world which says, I'm going to make you happy, but all it gives is, it ends always in pain. So therefore, let us increase our understanding and see the world for what it is. Let us not be deluded by these mirages of false hopes. Let us understand the truth of this world and let us understand the truth of who we are and the truth of what God is, and that as a child of God, that I am away from the suffering of this world. So separate, distill, discriminate, separate yourself separate the Jad from the Chetan. The Chetan is the consciousness who you really are, the Atman, and Jad is this matter. Know that these are separate entities, and with your yoga practice and meditation and love for God, separate these two entities and be Chaitanya forever, because that is the infinite bliss. Okay, with this we come to the last shloka of this chapter 9 of the Bhagavad Gita, and this again is one of the very, very beautiful shlokas. Here Krishna says, Manmana bhav mad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mame vaishyasi yuktaiva atmanam mad parayana. अपने मन को मुझ में स्थित करो, मेरे भक्त बनो, निरंतर आराधना करते हुए श्रद्धा के साथ मुझे नमन करो। इस प्रकार अपने सर्वोच्च लक्ष्य के रूप में स्वयं को मुझसे संयुक्त करके तू मुझको ही प्राप्त होगा। On me fix thy mind, be thou my devotee. With ceaseless worship, bow reverently before me. Having thus united thyself to me as thy highest goal, thou shalt be mine own. Now this is beautiful promise, and Krishna says, think of me, bow to me, love me, give me, surrender to me, and involve me, be mine, and you will be mine. That automatically he says. So what does this shlok is trying to say? That whatever faculties we have in this world, we are a soul. Now we have a body, we have prana, we have a thinking mind, and we have a feeling heart, right? So this shloka says, offer everything to me. With your thinking mind, you think of me alone. With your feeling heart, give me the entire love of your heart. With the prana or the energy that you have, focus that energy, focus that strength, and then you, with single pointed attention in Raja Yoga, with meditation, you offer it to me. With your body and with your willpower, whatever karma you do with this body-mind complex, you offer that to me. So simply Krishna is telling the devotees of all paths, whether it is Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Raj Yoga, anybody and everybody, he's saying, give me all your faculties, and you will be mine own. You are mine own, but you will understand that you and I were always one. It's only when you dedicate all your own powers, your talents, your skills, your abilities, your energy, your mind, your heart, your life. If everything you understand already belongs to Krishna, you only falsely think it is yours. The moment this ignorance goes that it was always Krishna's, and you consciously lay it in front of Krishna as an offering, that same moment you will become one with the Lord, and the coming and the going will stop, the birth and the death will cease, the game of pleasure and pain will cease, and we will all be one in that infinite bliss and that eternal love, and we shall feel fulfilled and we shall attain moksha. So with that thought, we will end today's class, and of course we will read the paragraph that we read on the finishing of any chapter. This is written in after every chapter. Let's just read this. Om Tat Sat. In the Upanishad of the Holy Bhagavad Gita, the discourse of Lord Krishna to Arjuna, which is the scripture of yoga and the science of God realization, this is the 9th chapter, called Union through the Royal Knowledge and the Royal Mystery. So let's just close our class with a healing prayer going out into the world for all souls. Let's share our blessings. Divine Mother, beloved Krishna, Thou art omnipresent. Thou art in all Thy children. Manifest Thy healing presence in all bodies, all minds, and all souls. Divine Mother, beloved Krishna, great Gurus, may Thy love shine forever on the sanctuary of our devotion, and may we be able to awaken Thy love in all true hearts. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.